The mess hall was unusually quiet for a Wednesday morning at Fort Blackburn, the kind of quiet that usually meant something was brewing beneath the surface. Soldiers shuffled through the line, boots thudding, trays scraping, conversations low. But in the corner of the hall, near the bulletin board plastered with training schedules and deployment rotations, Private Elena Brooks sat on a metal stool with a pair of dull scissors in her hand. Her brown hair, normally tied tight under her cap, was scattered in short strands on the concrete floor. She wasn't crying. She wasn't anxious. She was calm, precise, cutting each lock with focus as though she had done this 1,000 times. That was exactly the problem. General Marcus Halden, a man who believed discipline was the backbone of the U.S. Army, walked in just in time to see the scene. His jaw clenched immediately to owe him. Everything had a time, place, and procedure. A soldier trimming her hair in the mess hall during breakfast hours was practically a declaration of war on protocol. He took one step forward, boots echoing sharply. The soldiers around him stood and straightened instinctively, sensing the storm about to hit. Elena glanced up at the approaching shadow and instantly stood at attention that Halden's voice cracked like a whip. "Private Brooks, what on God's green earth do you think you're doing?" Before she could answer, he snatched the scissors from her hand and held them up. "This is a mess hall, not your personal barber shop, and you do not perform grooming during meal hours. You've disrespected Army regulations, this base, and me." Elena did not flinch. Her expression remained steady, almost serene. "Sir, permission to explain?" "Denied." Halden cut her off. "You're confined to barracks for 72 hours. No training exercises. No phone. No privileges. Report to your commanding officer immediately." The hall fell silent, and no one moved. No one dared to breathe. Elena simply nodded, saluted, and walked out without protest. What no one noticed, what Halden failed to realize, was that the reason she had been cutting her hair had nothing to do with vanity, rebellion, or carelessness. It had everything to do with survival. Private Luke Henderson watched her leave, eyes narrowed. Luke had been deployed twice in Afghanistan and once in Syria. He had seen enough strange behavior to know when a soldier was hiding something. "What's her deal?" whispered Specialist Megan Hart. Luke shook his head slowly. "Something's off. Elena's not reckless. She's careful. Every move she makes is calculated." "General Halden didn't think so," Megan answered. Luke looked toward the exit, jaw tight. "General Halden doesn't know what kind of soldier she really is." Elena reached her barracks, closed the door quietly, and leaned against it. Her breath trembled, not from fear of punishment, but from the weight of a secret she'd carried for almost a decade. When she was 17, Elena Brooks wasn't just a high school track star. She was part of a covert survival program created by the Defense Intelligence Agency. It was rumored to be dissolved. Officially, it never existed. Unofficially, Elena had been its most exceptional recruit. She had been trained to navigate terrain blindfolded, detect deception through micro-expressions, break out of restraints using only her body weight, and operate behind enemy lines with no support. Her instructors called her the Whisper, not because she was quiet, but because she could move, vanish, and reappear like a whisper of wind, that a legend in a file, stamped classified, that a ghost the Army didn't know it needed, a ghost General Halden accidentally punished. 3 hours later, Halden was in his office reviewing personnel files. He paused at one, the one he had demanded earlier after punishing her. Brooks, Elena M. Age, 25 service, 1 year active duty record. Flawless. Halden frowned. Flawless? For someone who would break basic protocol? He clicked deeper that a few lines were heavily redacted. Others blacked out completely. But one phrase was visible. Candidate exhibited extraordinary aptitude in survival, infiltration, and threat detection. Halden leaned forward. What candidate? What program? Her enlistment file wasn't normal. Not even close. Then something even stranger caught his EY at the bottom of the file with a warning tag. "Do not reassign without authorization from DIA Operations Command." Halden froze. Why the hell would the DIA care about a private? He grabbed the phone. "Give me Colonel Reeves. Now." Meanwhile, Elena sat alone in her barracks bunk, staring at the small mirror on the locker door. Her shorter hair made her look younger, but also harder, sharper. Her fingers brushed the scar hidden under the hairline behind her left ear. The implant beneath the skin vibrated faintly. It wasn't dangerous. It wasn't harmful. That IT was a tracker. Not for the army, for the ghosts of the past who still hunted the graduates of the covert program she escaped. Cutting her hair wasn't rebellion. It was necessity. The tracker overheated if the surrounding tissue grew too dense. If she didn't trim her hair every few weeks, it could burn her, but she couldn't explain that without revealing everything. Her secret was safer than her comfort. Someone knocked. Luke stepped inside. "You all right?" She nodded. "I'm Fina." "You sure?" "Because Halden dropped the hammer on you like you started a bar fight with a senator." Elena cracked a brief smile. "I've had worse." "Yeah? Like what?" She hesitated. "Things I hope you never have to know." Luke studied her carefully. "Elena, if you're in trouble, real trouble, I need to know." "You don't," she replied softly. "It's safer if you don't." He sighed. "I trust you. But secrets eventually come out." "I know," she whispered. She just didn't expect hers to surface that same night. The base alarms erupted at 1:14 a.m. Soldiers scrambled, boots thudding, sirens wailing across Fort Blackburn. Elena shot up instantly. The first alarm was loud. The second, the deeper, throat-shaking tone, meant something else entirely. Intruder breach. Unknown threat. Possible infiltration. Elena grabbed her boots, tied them fast, and ran out. General Halden was already in the operations center, fury and confusion battling across his face. "What do we know?" he barked. Colonel Reeves answered. "Thermal scanners picked up 2 unidentified figures breaching the north fence. They moved well, sir, like they were trained." "Trained? By who?" Reeves hesitated. "We don't know. They took out cameras. Disabled 3 patrols without a sound." Halden growled. "Were they after?" As if in answer, the lights flickered, the surveillance screens glitched, and for 2 seconds, a video feed flashed. IT was Elena Brooks' barracks. The intruders were after her. "Why her?" Halden demanded. Reeves didn't look at him. "Because she's not who you think she is." Halden slammed the desk. "Then who the hell is she?" Reeves inhaled slowly. "She's one of the last surviving members of Project Wraith." Halden's heart stuttered. "That program is a myth." "No, sir. It was very real and extremely dangerous." Luke sprinted through the courtyard, rifle raised, searching for Elena. He wasn't the only one. The intruders were closing in. Elena slipped between shadow and moonlight, multi-tool in her boot, stepped silent. She wasn't running away. She was hunting. She moved with purpose, controlled, efficient, ghost-like. Her eyes scanned corners, shadows, rooftops. Then she stopped. Someone was standing near the old training tower, too still to be a soldier. Her pulse didn't spike. That IT slowed. She knew that stance. She knew that breathing pattern. "You shouldn't have come here, Cade." Her voice was low, cold, familiar. A man stepped from the shadow. Mid-30s, sharp jaw, the same scar under the ear. "Elena," he replied. "Or should I say whisper?" She stiffened. "Project Wraith is gone," she said. "We were disbanded." He chuckled. "You were disbanded because you survived. You were the closest thing we had to perfect infiltration. And they want you back." "Not happening." He twirled a small device between his fingers. "That a detonator. You don't have a choice." The ground behind her exploded, flames rising, debris scattering. Not aimed at her, aimed to isolate her. Troops began running toward the fire, unaware of the real threat. Cade lunged. Elena blocked, dodged, struck. Their movements were so fast that anyone watching would think they were fighting in fast forward. Luke arrived just in time to see Cade pin Elena against the tower. "Let her go," Luke shouted. Cade smirked. "Stay back, soldier." And I go way back." Elena rammed her elbow into Cade's ribs, twisted free, and swept his legs. He fell hard. Luke lifted his weapon. On the ground. Cade looked between Elena and Luke, calculating the odds. Then he laughed. "You can't protect her. You have no idea what she is." He tossed a smoke grenade. The night swallowed him. Halden reached them minutes later, out of breath. "What the hell just happened?" "Who was that?" Elena looked him straight in the eyes, calm, steady, unapologetic. Sir, with your permission, I'll explain everything. Halden nodded once. Start talking. Elena inhaled. When I was 17, I was recruited into a covert program designed to create infiltration specialists. We were trained to disappear into hostile territories, gather intel, and sabotage operations without being detected. Luke stared at her. You mean spies? Worse, she said. We were ghosts. Halden crossed his arms. And tonight, Elena lowered her voice. They can't bring me back. But if they can't have me, they'll erase me. Luke stepped forward. Not happening. Not while I'm here. Halden exhaled. Private Brooks, your punishment earlier was a mistake. I didn't understand what you were dealing with. She shook her head. You weren't supposed to. Well, Halden said, now I do. And as long as you're on my base, no one touches you. I'll assign a 24/7 protection detail. Elena's expression softened for the first time. Thank you, sir. Halden nodded, but something in his eyes had changed. Respect. And something else, recognition. He had punished a soldier for trimming her hair, but he had stumbled upon a living legend. Cade didn't disappear. Not completely. Over the next few weeks, Fort Blackburn remained on high alert. Elena underwent debriefings, intelligence tests, and threat assessments. Halden pushed for her transfer into a classified counterinfiltration unit. But Elena had a different plan. One morning, she approached Halden's office. Sir, I want to remain in the regular army. Halden raised a brow. With your skill set, you belong in special operations. With respect, sir, I want a normal life. I want to serve beside soldiers who fight as a team, not as shadows. Halden studied her carefully. You sure? She nodded. Luke waited for her outside. So, what did he say? He said yes. Luke smiled. Good. Because the team feels safer with you around. She smirked. Or more scared. A healthy mix of both. They walked toward the training field, morning sun burning away the night's ghosts. Elena Brooks was no longer Whisper and no longer a ghost. She was a soldier, a leader, a survivor. And though her past had come looking for her, she was no longer running from it, because for the first time in her life, she had people worth fighting for.